Hey, 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 my friends, I'm Rebecca, and you are listening to Resilience with Rebecca, a place where people come together, we have conversations about real life, getting in the middle of the messy middle, and getting back up. That's the main thing, is getting back up. I was reminded this week of how resilience can look a lot of different ways. My husband and I were shopping at a plant store. If you know me at all, you know I am a huge fan of anything plant related. The last couple of years, I've gone a little crazy buying and growing plants that are unique and fun and hardy. I just love, especially succulents and cactus and things like that, that just will survive anything. And anyway, we had taken an opportunity to leave town and we were in the store and we're looking around and I'm looking for something to add to my collection. And my husband, he's so sweet. He's looking at all these beautiful flowering plants and all these just things that would just make a room look alive and beautiful. And what about this one? What about this one? What about this one? And I'm looking at them. They were really beautiful. And don't get me wrong, if he wanted to buy them for me, I would take them. But I was looking around trying to find the plant and happened to glance over into the corner, and there was this, I don't know how to describe it other than it looked kind of like a ball of barbed wire. It was all rolled up and wrinkled and twisted and hanging awkwardly, and it just had all these long arm-like leaves that it just looked very scraggly and it was full, but it looked very rough. It just looked like a plant who had been through it. And I looked over and I saw that plant and I said, there it is. There's the one I want. And he looked at me like I had kind of lost my marbles a little bit and said, but that's ugly. And I said, don't you just love it? Don't you just love it? And he says, no, no, I don't. I don't just love it. It just looks like something that's just been through the ringer. And I said, that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of this plant. It looks like it's gone through so much, yet it's still alive. It's still growing. It's still pushing forward. It's still making, I mean, you could look at it and tell it was still making new leaves. It was still propagating itself. It was still green. It was still doing all the things that a plant is supposed to do. It just looked really rough doing it. And it made me think of our topic, which is resilience on this podcast. I'm always talking about ways to build resilience. And this plant made me think, this is really a resilient plant. This is a plant that looks like it's been growing and maturing and trying to get big enough to hold its own. And by this point, it was quite large. And it looked like it had just really, really gone through an ugly season of growth. And it made me think about how growth in our own lives is not always pretty. It doesn't always look like it doesn't always look like the finished product will look. When we're in the season of growing and building resilience, sometimes those seasons are just plain ugly. They're just plain no fun. And this plant really represented that well. It was like, when I get into that season where, I've been in a season of grief, over the last couple of years. And sometimes, it's the ugly cries, the most, that are the most cleansing. It's the moments where you just can't figure out how to get back out of bed, that are when you finally put your feet on the floor, that are the most epic moments in those seasons. And so growth isn't always pretty. So sometimes we're looking to grow, we're looking to be this idea of who we want to be. And when we look in the mirror, we see this chewed up, curled up, barbed wire looking person staring back at us, and we think, that's not what that's not what I want my life to look like. I don't want to be this tied up, messed up person. So I'm going to tell you right now, give yourself grace in that moment and realize that the growth seasons are not always pretty. You won't always look like You won't always look like you've been through the ringer. You won't always feel like the way you do right now. There will be seasons where you'll begin to get up again, where things will in your life will begin to become greener. They will begin to grow. They will begin to flower. They will begin to show the efforts of those seasons where you stuck with it, where you got back up and you kept moving forward, where you just held on when there was nothing else to do. My dad used to say all the time, when you can't do anything else and you reach the end of your rope, tie a knot in the end of the rope and hang on. And sometimes that's all you can do. Sometimes that's all you can do. And remind yourself also when you're in those seasons of growth that, you may not feel like you're walking in your purpose. I know there was a lot of times over the last couple of years that I knew what I wanted to do. I knew where my heart was pulling me to. I could see, a vision of what could be, but yet I couldn't figure out how to get there. And sometimes it's a season of, I'll go back to my plant analogy. Sometimes it's a season of sitting in the soil, you know, getting those nutrients in, getting that time that you need to grieve that loss, to allow yourself that grace to be in that season of not so pretty, of not so where you want to be. And but that doesn't mean you're not in your purpose. That doesn't mean you've lost your purpose. That doesn't mean you don't have a purpose. That just means that right now you're just needing to be fed. You're just needing to be you're just needing to be, for somebody to put those additives in there and that somebody may be you, by the way. I'm thinking, you're thinking, well, there is nobody. Sometimes that somebody is us. Sometimes that somebody is, I need to allow myself to rest. That was one of the things I had to really learn was it's okay to take a break. It's okay to rest. It's okay to take a nap in the middle of the day when your body is screaming, I'm give out, I'm exhausted, I'm tired, I've pushed as far as I can. And sometimes, and not sometimes, I would say all the time, it's before you get to that point. It's before you get to that point, you need to listen to yourself and take the time to rest and relax and recoup and revive yourself. Because we're sometimes those seasons of growth are rough. Those seasons of building resilience are hard. The season of grief that I've been in, it's not been easy, and it'll never be the same because of the loss. But I can become better through it. I can learn to live with it. I can learn to use it for helping others. There's so many things that can come out of it. So let me remind you as we as we look around our life and we see that, we're like that plant in the corner that's just, you know, the one my husband went, oh no, don't bring that one home. Sometimes we look at our life and say, oh no, this is not. Oh no, this is not me. This is not what I had planned. This is not what life was supposed to look like. This was not in the cards. Let's take a look at our life and say, yeah, right now we look a little worse for wear. Right now I don't feel like I'm walking in my purpose. Right now I feel like there's more, but I can't figure out how to get from here to there. Whatever you're telling yourself, let me remind you that it's a season. It's a season. And as you surround yourself with growth-minded people, as you find a support system, as you learn to use those pain points to help somebody else, as you start growing and figuring out how to get back up, as you nurture yourself, as you rest your body, as you rest your mind, your soul, your spirit, whatever you want to say, as you give yourself that grace in this season, one day you're going to step up and you're going to do far greater with your life than you ever would have done without that season of building resilience. And so let me encourage you, when you're looking in the mirror and you see that little rough plant or that big rough plant, because this was a big one, if you're looking in the mirror and you see that and you just say, I just don't see any way, I'm going to encourage you to to reshape your perspective. Look at it and start saying, I may be here now, but I won't be here forever. I may be feeling a little rough today, but one day I'm going to bloom. I may be in a season of grief that I just don't understand. I don't see a way through it. But one day I'm going to look up and the sun is going to be shining again. And I'm going to be ready to step forward. Give yourself grace to be in that season. Allow yourself that time to grow. Know that you have a purpose, you have a calling, and you will walk in it one day. If you don't feel like you're in it right now, that's okay. We've all been there. I'm not 100% there myself. Let me encourage you, reach out to somebody. If you don't have anybody to reach out to, jump in a message and say, hey, I feel alone, because I can guarantee you're surrounded by people who feel the same way you do. They feel like they're the only one who feels that way, and you're not. You're not. One day we're going to be, instead of being in that corner, we're going to be in the middle of the room on display for all to see, beautiful and blooming. And I would say that that plant that I saw will never be what what people may consider beautiful. But to me, it was far more beautiful because of the bruises, the scars, the mess ups of the plant. It made that plant far more beautiful than something that was perfect in every way. So if you look and you see your scars, you see your bruises, and you say, I can't, it's not what I want it to look like. Use those. Use those to help somebody else. When I look at the scars, I see beauty, I see resilience, I see growth. And so when you look at yourself, I encourage you, look at the growth. Look how far you've come. Look how far you've come. I can't say that enough. It's like you're not where you want to be, but hey, you're not where you could be. You're not where you could be. So I encourage you, we see the beauty in you. I see the beauty in you. I see the part of you that is full of purpose and growth and has something to offer the world. So see it in yourself. See it in yourself. I encourage you to reach out to somebody today. If you need to be encouraged, I encourage you to reach out and ask for encouragement. But I encourage you today, reach out to someone else and encourage them. This is a time, something that doesn't cost you anything, to reach out and encourage somebody, because they may be the one sitting in that corner broken and alone and feeling very unwanted, and you can come along, pick them up, and help them move forward. So I thank you today for listening to listening to Resilience with Rebekah. I hope that something I said today spoke to you. If it did, I encourage you to pass it on and share it with somebody you think it will help. And I hope you have a great rest of your day.